Hey everyone, it's Miss Spencer. Today we'll be reviewing line plots and dividing whole numbers and fractions. The chart to the right shows how long each student played outside for. Use the information to create a line plot. Then use the line plot to answer the questions on the right. Hey everyone, it's Miss Spencer. Today we'll be reviewing line plots and dividing whole numbers and fractions. The chart to the right shows how long each student played outside for. Use the information to create a line plot. Then use the line plot to answer the questions on the next slide. So here we have our chart showing how long each student played outside for. First, let's look at the fractions. We can see that we have 1.5 here and 2 2/4 here. Notice the denominators are not the same. Well, we know we can rewrite 1.5 so that the denominator is 4. 1 1/2 is the same as 1 2/4. Now that both of these fractions have the same denominator of 4, we can create our number line that we will use to plot the points. Let's first find the smallest number, which is 1 2/4. Since 1 2/4 is the smallest number in the chart, we're going to start our number line at 1 in order to plot 1 2/4 on the number line. If we had started the number line at 2, we wouldn't be able to plot 1 2/4 on the number line. Now let's add another whole to 1, and we have 2 wholes. Well, if we stopped our number line at 2 wholes, we would not be able to plot 2 2/4 on the number line. So we actually have to add one more whole to the end of our number line so that we can plot 2 2/4. Now let's break each whole into the same equal amount of parts. Well, what we can do is look at the denominator and see that the denominator for both of these fractions is 4. So we're going to break each whole into 4 equal parts. Since each whole is broken up into 4 parts, we know each part is worth 1/4 more. Let's label each of these tick marks. Here we have 1, then 1 1/4, 1 2/4, 1 3/4, and 1 4/4, which is the same as 2 wholes. Then we have 2 1/4, 2 2/4, 2 3/4, and 2 4/4, which is the same as 3 wholes. Now that we've labeled our line plot, we can go ahead and start plotting these points. Let's start with Yoki. She was outside for 1 2/4 hours. So we're going to find 1 2/4 on our number line or on a line plot, and we're going to plot a point above 1 2/4. Mark was outside for 2 hours, so we're going to find 2 and place a point above 2. Modric was also outside for 2 hours, so we are going to stay at 2. Since there's already an x here, we can put a second x above the x that's already there to represent how long Modric was outside for. Finally, Emily was outside for 2 2/4 hours. So we're going to find 2 2/4 on our number or on our line plot and place a point above it. Now that we've placed all of the points for all students, we can now answer the questions on the next slide. What is the longest a person played outside? So what we're going to do is look at our line plot at the top and look for the largest number that has at least one x above it. That would be 2 2/4. So that means the longest a person played outside for was 2 2/4 hours. Although 3 is a bigger number, there are no x's above it, meaning no one played outside for that amount of time. What is the shortest a person played outside for? So now we're going to look for the smallest number with at least one x above it, and that would be 1 2/4 hours. So the shortest a person played outside for was 1 2/4 hours. Although 1 is a smaller number, there are no x's above it, meaning nobody played outside for that amount of time. What length of time were most people outside for? So now we're going to look for a number that has the most x's above it, and that would be 2 hours, since there are two x's above 2, meaning people played outside for 2 hours. So the length of time that most people played outside for was 2 hours. Finally, if the total amount of time were redistributed, so everyone was outside for the same amount of time, how long would each person be outside for? So this is where we're going to add up all of the data points and how long each person was outside for. And then we're going to divide it by the total number of people that were outside. So let's just go in order. We can see that we're going to add 1 2/4. plus 2 plus 2 again, since there are two x's above 2, plus 2 and 2/4. When we add that up here at the bottom, we get 7 and 4/4 hours, which is the same as 8 hours. So the total amount of time that all the students were outside for was 8 hours. Now we can divide the 8 hours, which is the total amount of time people are outside, by the number of people that were playing, which was 4 people. 8 hours divided by 4 people, since there are 4 x's on our line plot, equals 2 hours per person. So if the total amount of time was redistributed, so everyone was outside for the same amount of time, each person would be outside for 2 hours. Now let's try dividing whole numbers and fractions. Jermanjeet has 1/3 of a chocolate bar left. He evenly splits the chocolate bar between himself and 3 friends. What fraction of the entire chocolate bar will Jermanjeet eat? Let's first write our equation. We first need to ask ourselves what we're splitting up. Well, we know that we're splitting up 1/3 of the chocolate bar. So that's going to be our dividend, which goes first in our equation. Now we're going to figure out how many people he's sharing this 1/3 of a chocolate bar with. And that would be himself and 3 people. So that's a total of 4 people sharing the rest of the chocolate bar. Now that we've written our equation, we can create a model. We're starting with 1/3 of a chocolate bar. So let's break our model into third pieces and shade one of them to represent 1/3. We're now going to evenly break this 1/3 into 4 equal parts to represent Jermanjeet and each of his 3 friends. Now we can figure out what fraction of the entire chocolate bar Jermanjeet ate. That would be one portion out of 12, so he ate 1/12 of the entire chocolate bar. Jermanjeet will eat 1/12 of the chocolate bar. Finally, Janaya has 2 bags of Starburst. She gives each friend 1/3 of a bag. How many friends can she give 1/3 of a bag of Starburst to? First, let's create our equation. We're asking ourselves what is being shared, and that's the 2 bags of Starbursts. So our dividend, which is our first number, is 2, since that's what's being shared. She's going to give each friend 1/3 of a bag of Starbursts, so our divisor is 1/3. Now we can create a model to represent this equation. Since we're starting with 2 wholes, we're going to create 2 whole models to represent 2 bags of Starbursts. We're dividing by 1/3 since each friend is getting a third of a bag, so we're going to break each model into third-sized pieces. Now we just count how many third-sized pieces there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thirds in the 2 whole bags of Starbursts. That means she can give 6 friends a third of a bag of Starbursts. So Janaya can give 6 friends 1/3 of a bag of Starbursts.